Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Ibanez. For my project, I'm going to be dealing with the role of the dark web in identity theft. Now, before we get started, I'm gonna change it to character because I think thieves dress like this. So I'm just gonna dress like a thief real quick so you guys can get the feel. Okay, let's start. So what is the dark web? So my first citation, it's based off a paper called a research paper on the dark web. The definition, so the dark web is basically refers to the part of the internet that is not indexed by standard search engines. So thus, it's not really visible to the public. It's a subsection of the deep web, which includes all parts of the web not indexed by search engines. And to access the dark web, you have to either install certain software, configure, get authorization. It's a more private and anonymous way to surf the web. And actually, the dark web is a part of it goes inside of the deep web. But some of the uses, they could be legitimate. So the dark web is often associated with illegal activities, but it could also be used for legitimate purposes. This includes protection of privacy, identity. It can be used in countries with strict censorship, surveillance, whistleblowing. So any anonymous leak for sensitive information, they use it for that. And it can also be used as a secure communication channel for journalists working in repressive regimes or different dealing with sensitive topics. But obviously, the more famous thing, it's illegally used for sale of goods and services that are illegal, such as drugs, weapons, counterfeit items. Exchange of illegal content, so like pirated media, movies, music, and also forums and marketplaces for illegal activities, which includes identity theft. Okay, and some of the technologies that enable this are the Tor browser. It's like a Google but for the dark web, and then I2P, which is an invisible internet project, which is a network layer that allows for secure and anonymous communication. And both of these technologies are really important in maintaining anonymity and security on the dark web. So let's go into the dark web infrastructure. How does data travel through the dark web?
On it. I didn't get that. Could you try again?
What? No, I'm not talking to you, Siri. Sorry, my Siri. My Siri's talking to me. Basically, using encryption and routing, data on the dark web doesn't travel in a straightforward path like on the surface web. Instead, it's routed through multiple layers for encryption and random paths. In the case of Tor, data packets are wrapped in multiple layers of encryption, which is why they sometimes refer to it as an onion router. Each layer is decrypted by a randomly chosen node, and to reveal the next node's location, you have to decrypt it. The Tor network, it's a structure about anonymity. There's a lot of components to it. Some of them include volunteer relays, which basically are volunteer operated servers, entry nodes, which is basically seeing an IP address for a user but not the final destination, middle nodes, where the nodes pass to the next node but they're anonymous because you can't really tell where they come from or where they go, or exit nodes, where it decrypts the final layer of encryption. So this all this is basically used for anonymity, to kind of hide and mask where people actually are either living or what they're trying to do at the end. And then I2P, it's focused on hidden services. The I2P creates a network within the internet, so it's like a network overlay, and it's made up of user routes called tunnels. There's different hosting services for it, and the layers of security include there's basically extra layer of security compared to services that are accessible from both the dark and open web. So like I said, basically the Tor network and I2P are for anonymity and privacy. Okay, and if you guys see the image there, it's basically showing the path. Okay, so let's go into the types of data that's sold through the dark web and why the data is valuable. Okay, so the first type of data is personal data types. So credit cards, social security numbers, passports, account credentials. When it comes to identity theft, usually you're talking about social security cards. People have your social security number. They can apply for credit cards. They can apply for loans, even some in most cases auto loans or even mortgages like homes. Although usually they the banks alert them, and usually they catch people, but by the time they catch them, sometimes they already steal thousands of dollars. Financial fraud, where credit card and banking details are exploited. So with a credit card, that's like probably the most common type of fraud. Someone takes your credit card number and they buy things, but usually your credit card company is very good about returning your money. And then account takeover would be more like stolen credentials. So maybe banking details. So for your online banking, they can access your online banking and even send wires on that don't even get flagged because they think it's you doing it instead of the bad people. And then the second type of thing is, why is the data valuable? Like I just mentioned, you can do a lot of things with this information, including opening accounts and mainly getting quick money. So when it comes to economics of identity theft, as you can see by the graphic, I got this from my citation. Here's how much your personal information is selling on the dark web. And here you can see some pricing structures, almost like when you're buying things online. You get more discounts the more stuff you buy, and then they bundle into different packages. And then where it says about data fulls, so these are the most valuable data sets when it comes to the dark web and when it comes to identity theft. This is basically a full package for an individual. So this is, let's say there's a John. So if you have John's driver's license, his passport, his social, his credit card, basically all the information that you need to do whatever you want with it, that's considered a fulls. So those are very valuable. And then the payment methods to acquire these things, it's all either through crypto or heist. So when it comes to crypto, the more common form is Bitcoin, which is a decentralized currency. But they also use Monero, which is it's becoming quickly more preferred over Bitcoin because it has enhanced privacy features, and you're actually able to hide the transaction amounts and mask the transaction origins and destinations. Now, when I talk about heists, sometimes they offer a heist, which is, if you think about a heist in real life where you rob a bank and you get money. Some people they set up like online heists to get more information for maybe someone hackers having trouble getting information for someone. So he's like, okay, I'll give you a full package, or I'll give you whatever you want, just give me information on this guy. So yeah, that's one way. So next, transaction anonymity. So when it comes to the dark web, it's obviously ideal for you to hide your identity and not be caught, because if you're caught, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, like going to jail and paying fines. So Bitcoin is, like I said, the most popular cryptocurrency that's used in the dark web. It's basically a way to detach yourself from the payment instead of using a bank or a wire where they can track exactly who the person is that's doing the transaction. This helps with anonymity. Monero, like I mentioned, it's again, it's a rising form of cryptocurrency, which is actually more preferred over Bitcoin, because Bitcoin usually you can track exactly when you sell it, when you send it. Monero, there's more anonymity to it. You can actually hide more of the transaction elements. And yeah, that's basically it for that. So the next, how can you protect yourself from identity theft? So it might seem straightforward, but there's some very common things that are good to know, good to remember when you're trying to protect yourself. So when you have passwords, try not to use basic passwords, use more complex passwords. Write your passwords down physically. So some people that I know, they might have all their passwords on like their notes application on their phone, but what happens if your phone gets hacked? Then all your passwords are at risk. Hide your public information. So if you have a business or a website, usually if you have like the standard, the cheapest domain, it won't hide your information. So if you have like an LLC or a company, you're able to look up the company and see the owner, where they live, the address, sometimes their political affiliation, and even a phone number. So that's a lot of information that can be detrimental to you. So there's services where you can actually pay a little bit money a month or a year, and they'll actually hide that information from the public or make it harder for them to find it, which is always helpful. Also, just keep in mind, don't open emails or links from people that you don't know. Sometimes there's these Amazon scams where they claim to have purchased $1,000 thing on Amazon, and to get the refund, you have to click this link. Well, it's all a scam. Never, and then never give personal information over the phone. If someone calls and asks for your social, yeah, don't do that. Usually, if someone needs to talk to you about that, usually they have the information. You can confirm their information. You can ask them what information they have for you, and if they confirm it and it's accurate, then you can say yes or no. But don't physically give them new information over the phone. Usually, they should have all that. Okay. Next, law enforcement challenges. So, in this new day and age, when it comes to crypto and data breaches and hackers and identity theft, there's a lot of layers to it. Okay, so as you can see, since 2018 to 2022, the amount of identity theft complaints, fraud complaints, and basically any other consumer complaints have risen a lot, dramatically. So let's talk about the scope of the impact of this. So the dark web has significantly lowered the barrier to entry for committing identity theft. Before the internet, the only way to do it was basically going through people's mail and trying to get information that way. But now everything's so easy to do over the web, and it makes it easier. So more and more people are starting to get into it because it's so easy. Amplification of risks. Basically, unlike traditional theft, like I mentioned, the dark web provides a global platform for the sale and purchase of stolen items. So not only can you have something before, if you had a piece of information, you have to go face to face and sell it. Now you could just sell it anonymously anywhere in the world, and you'll find someone to buy it. And then the speed of scale of it. Stolen information is distributed quickly and to a vast audience, so it potentially leads to simultaneously multiple frauds per identity. One of the things that they recommend to do if you have your identity stolen is to freeze all your credit bureaus like Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You can call and freeze it so that, because if someone has your social security number, they can start applying for a lot of credit cards or loans. But if you freeze everything, it's gonna make it harder for them to apply and get paid. So that will deter them and help them not worry about your identity for a while, and hopefully they'll give up. The impact on individuals. So basically financial loss. The victims can suffer immediately financial loss from unauthorized transactions. The good thing about being in this country, at least in the US, is if you have a certain, I think up to $250,000 in your bank account, it can really help because it's FDIC insured, so they'll return up to $250,000 if it's stolen. And then credit cards are very good because they'll return all your money if it's fraud as well. What else? So impact on businesses and institutions. So you have financial data breaches. Businesses could lose millions of dollars. Just for the example, in Vegas, they hacked a lot of casinos, so they couldn't operate. And every day that they don't operate, that they were held by ransom, they were losing millions of dollars of potential income from their customers. And then finally, the law enforcement response. It's a very tough thing to go after anonymous people over the internet, but with the help of cybersecurity, more and more law enforcement agencies and federal agencies like the FBI and CIA, they're using tactics to trace these transactions and trace these illegal operations. So overall, and also along with legal frameworks, so they're helping strengthen data protection laws and regulations to force organizations to secure personal data better. Okay, and basically education as well. All right, let's look to the future of this. I got this from the citation is considered cybercrime expected to skyrocket in coming years. This is from that paper. As you can see in the graphic, over the years, it's going to exponentially increase. So some of the things that can actually combat that is quantum computing, where in the future, when quantum computing gets really good, it's going to be able to break encryption methods, and it's going to be able to expose the dark web's anonymity, helping law enforcement basically capture these people or see who's doing what. Artificial intelligence will help detect identity theft patterns. Cyber criminals could use it also to automate attacks and become more sophisticated with scams. And then when it comes to evolving cybersecurity principles, things like biometric security for verification can be used to combat any type of fraud, as well as cybersecurity education and awareness. So the more people know about how these criminals do what they do, you can kind of protect yourself about it. Okay, and these are my references, and thank you so much.